In a slight departure to what I normally make videos on, today we have not any old Windows computer. It is in fact a Macintosh. As you might be able to tell, it's a Power Macintosh G4 with AGP graphics. As you can see, it has an AGP card. It has a single core processor at 800 megahertz. And I'm not exactly sure what the upgrade path would be for that. It currently has two 512 megabyte sticks of RAM for a total of 1 gigabyte. It has an 80 gigabyte hard drive, a Seagate, 4 free PCI X, I believe that's called, expansion slots, and PC card slot, which is rendered useless because when you try to close the thing, this gets in the way of letting you do that with any normal length PC card I've seen. That's Apple for you. And it's got I believe a CD burner DVD-ROM drive. Yes, it looks like that. And power supply, some random system fan, CPU fan, all that shenanigans. Now I'm having two problems with this computer. The first one being that when I tried to put macOS 9 Classic mode onto it, it's currently running OS X Tiger. I wanted to add the Classic mode to that. However, as soon as I got to that point, the system settings thing, I believe it's called System Preferences, decided that it no longer wanted to be useful, and it ceased to open. And I believe on this disk I have burnt OS X 10.4.10, which it had 10.4.11 in, but that was the most up-to-date one I could find. So I guess I can just update it as long as said update servers are still working. And the second issue, unsurprisingly, being that this CMOS battery is dead. Flat as a pancake. 0 volts. Now, I don't have another one of those. But I do have some of these. Some Energizer 2032 batteries that I probably paid way too much for at the nearest Wally World. And I know you're thinking, but wait, this is 3.6 volts. How are you going to use a 3.0 volt battery? Well, I'm just going to sort of hope it works, because I don't really even know where I can buy these. Online, presumably, but buying things online is a lot of effort. So I guess I'll rig up some way to attach this to here. Should be easy enough. Thankfully, this battery hasn't leaked, though. And it's from about the same time as the computer, March 2002, made in Israel. It seems that all these batteries are made in Israel. Unusual place to make things, but guess you gotta make them somewhere. Well, my hopes and dreams of soldering to that 2032 battery were crushed, so I just sort of taped the wires on there, and with any luck, that'll hold together long enough to be worthwhile. The computer does still work without the CMOS battery, but it forgets the settings like instantly. Let's see, this is positive side, that is the positive terminal. So we'll go ahead, put this on here, and with any sort of luck, we won't have 6-foot flames shooting out of the computer the next time I turn it on, and it will actually remember the BIOS settings. Well, I don't know about BIOS settings, because I don't know. Do Macs have a BIOS? I don't know. Now something I can solder is I can solder these on. Well, hopefully that connection will stick around for a little while. And another thing we need to hope about is whether or not it actually works like that. Well, I did manage to plug it in without causing any 6-foot flames to appear anywhere. And now it is time to try it out. Uh-oh. Just kidding, it works fine. And yeah, Mac OS X still does boot on this. It's pretty broken otherwise, but you can boot and log in and all that. It looks like because this is connected to the network, it's already retrieved the latest date and time, or latest, the current date and time. So we'll go ahead and shut down the computer, and then I'll unplug it for a few seconds, boot it back up without the network, and we'll see if it remembers the time. While that's doing things, take a look at the video card. Seems to be some sort of ATi card, not sure exactly. It doesn't look extremely powerful, and in Apple's true fashion, it has their stupid round DVI on it. And, well, this thing is taking a long time to shut down, and I don't like it. And now, it's time to see if that battery actually works. Oh, yeah, gotta unplug the network. Go. Turn it back on. Well, unfortunately, it would seem that I have failed. Well, as you can see, because of the Preferences app not working, when you try to open something that would normally be found in the Preferences app, it does not work. So, with that being said, I believe it's time to reinstall. So basically, I wound up figuring out that the disk that I had before is not bootable, so one might say I am now burning the toast. And hopefully this image actually works. I'm burning it right on the Mac, so I think that's going to be our highest chance of success. I would have just used this drive, but it doesn't burn DVDs. I believe it burns CDs, but at 2.62 gigabytes, it's not fitting on any CD I've ever heard of. Well, finally, I've now managed to burn a bootable Mac OS X DVD. Thanks, Internet Archive. You can see right there, Mac OS X installed DVD, and apparently we're waiting for something. I don't know if it's trying to find a network source or what, but every time I go to this menu, it makes me wait for like 30 seconds before I can do anything. Now that it's done with whatever it was doing, we can go ahead and apparently boot from that drive. And it looks mostly the same for the initial boot screen, I guess, but it's most definitely reading from the DVD, as if I get the camera angle right, you might be able to see that drive light. There it is. But yeah, that's going to take a while. Pick it up when that's done. Well, after several minutes, we have indeed made it to the language selection screen. And me only knowing little bits and pieces of French and Spanish, we're going to have to use English as the main language, and considering that's the main audience that I make my videos to, I wouldn't choose another language anyway. Yes, welcome. I feel welcomed. I'm going to agree that, because I don't want to read that to actually know whether or not I would actually agree to it. Okay, erase and install, yes. Options, what kind of, oh, okay, that's just what we did. So, install. And that looks like it'll probably take a while, so I'll just leave that to do its thing. And I'll go ahead and resume the video when that happens. Well, sometime later it would appear that it's completed setup. And we need to identify the keyboard. Right to the shift key. Okay. Yep. Select the country I'm in. Well, it appears that I got through all the shenanigans that it wanted me to do, including a requirement of typing in my full name and address, or at least something that looks convincingly like that. Didn't I just identify my keyboard? Has it really changed since? Yes, that's what it is. And yep, that's okay. So that means that OS X Tiger is installed. It might be out of date a little bit. Yeah, 10.4 and nothing else. So I wonder if the software update still works. That would be something, wouldn't it? Amazingly, the software update thing still seems to work, as it's installing the 10.4.11 update for Tiger itself, the DVD player update, and some horribly old version of Java. But yeah, nice. So the Mac is finally set up as everything should be. Everything is up to date. I've got latest version of iTunes and all that. The only thing I don't have currently is iMovie, because iLife 08, well, the iLife 08 version of iMovie apparently requires a much higher spec processor than this computer has. So I think I'm going to track down the iLife 06 and see if iMovie and that is compatible with this. Anyway, I've got the latest versions of iTunes and all that stuff. GarageBand, LibreOffice, and 10.4 Fox for slow web browsing, but it does work. I do have a few games installed here as well. Just older stuff that I had laying around, basically, like got Burger Shop, which will chuzzle, and the crappy version of Chess that talks to you. And yeah, it's at least slightly productive because of remote desktop, LibreOffice, Reader, all that. I did actually get a Mac OS 9 installed on here. It's in a dual boot, although when you try to boot it, it just immediately freezes after loading the desktop, so it's not very useful for it like that. However, the classic mode does work. So if I go, where's a nice classic mode thing? Oh yeah, it's probably not going to be here. If I go to the Mac hard drive, that's generally where my classic mode things are. For example, let's see, links, and yeah, it warns me that classic is starting, and then it does so. As you can see, it's jumping at me. Version of QuickTime is not recommended. I can't figure out how to change that, so I guess it's just gonna stick like that. And if I so dare, I can actually show this. As you can see, it's one of the latest versions of macOS 9, 9.2. Anyway, maybe I won't start that one. Oh, CD error. Does this one not need a CD? Yes, finally one that doesn't need the CD. Okay. Hi. So yeah, it is working. As you can see, it definitely has the classic themed window. Really reminds me like the seamless integration mode of the VMware virtual machines and what they can do. A lot of things do run completely fine in the classic mode, but this game just dies. Like it will eventually load things, but it's pretty much unplayable and just extremely stuttery. Yeah. So anyway. But anyway, I guess I'll end the video here. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments about this video or the Macintosh itself, please feel free to leave them. And I'll try to respond to you if it's a question. But anyway, thank you for watching.